I understand it. Yeah, just give me your thoughts on that. That's a nice round number. It's a pretty big number.
Yeah, it's a big number. Yeah, I mean, year 30. I can talk about it on a couple different levels. You know, I mean, on one hand, I can tell you, I didn't know if I'd still be coaching in year 30. I don't have to be coaching in year 30. I'm very blessed to be able to say, but on the other hand, I tell you, I just went through two-a-days, which is grueling, obviously, when you've been doing it as long as I have, but I still love it. I still get up excited every day, and I still love, I'm a jigsaw puzzle person, and I still love dumping that jigsaw puzzle out and seeing if I can make all the pieces fit. And so that part, even though I'm getting older and older, I'm still as excited to enter that piece of this as I ever have been. And so 30 years in one place, I don't know. That's pretty hard to get your mind around. But it's been my honor to wear WKU across my chest during that time. This is my alma mater, and this is a place that I grew up and I raised a family, and I just sent my youngest born off to college, and so I've literally, raised my family in this community, and it is very much a part of me. And so it's an honor still to sit in front of you guys and represent our volleyball program.
Coach, when it comes to this team, it's kind of a new era with past 5-6 years, you've had a Katie Eisenbarger, Lauren Matthews, Paige Briggs, and now with them gone, it's kind of a new era. Just how kind of reflect on those teams and how they kind of built up the success to make way for this new era.
Well, that's part of what I was alluding to before about still having the excitement to do this job, because when you coach a Paige Briggs or a Lauren Matthews or an Alyssa Kavanaugh or a Jessica Lucas, or like, those are rare opportunities. But I've always kind of relished the underdog side of this, if you will. And I saw somewhere someone was questioning what we would be like in the post-Paige Briggs era. And in my mind, I'm thinking just like we were in the post-Lauren Matthews era and the post-Alyssa Kavanaugh era. And we have really good players, and you don't replace a kid like Paige. We don't have any singular player that's going to go do what Paige can do. But I remember sitting here last year and people were asking me about the post-Lauren Matthews era. And Lauren had led the nation in hitting percentage. And how were we ever going to replace a player like that with 3 freshman middles and and we were a top 25 team and went to the second round of the NCAA tournament. And so this program's bigger than any one player. It's bigger than any one coach. It's, we have a culture in place where, kids come here and grow and get better. And, we certainly are looking over our shoulder for Paige Briggs every day in here, but, you watch Kaylee Cox grow into, the next one that can carry the load for you, and a Callie Bauer is the next Jessica Lucas who can carry that load from that position for you. And, it's just, that's part of what I enjoy. And I think our program has endured some very significant losses. We have taken 2 in the last 2 years that are, Lauren Matthews and Paige Briggs in back-to-back years. That puts you to the test, and we certainly will be put to the test this year.
Couple of tough weekends on the road to open the season. How you feel about that? The schedule stacks up: 6 on the road, 7 at home, and then you're starting the conference play.
Yeah, I felt like it was a good idea in December and January when we were doing it. It hasn't felt like as good an idea as it gets closer. But it is, look, it's a schedule unlike anything we've ever put together here. We've always played a competitive schedule. As you guys know, I'm always pushing us to build an RPI that allows us a chance for an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament should we not win Conference USA. And certainly this schedule will do that, but it's going to do it in a very different way. We've never strung together the kind of challenges that we have this year. When I was walking out to come down here, one of my assistants said, we have 4 top 25 teams in our first 9 matches. And that's not even including a Michigan State, and Illinois is our 10th match. And, we're going to be good. I like our team a lot. I have great confidence that we're going to be competitive night in, night out. I have great confidence that we'll be, one of the better teams in Conference USA. I have great confidence that you won't want to play us later in the year when it gets closer to tournament time. But I also have great confidence in knowing that our fan base needs to hang in there for a little bit early on, because we could play outstanding volleyball in the first month of the year and be a 500 team. But here's the thing. If we are, we're in really good shape. If we're above 500 4 weeks into the season, our RPI is going to be on fire with the schedule that we're playing, and that's all that really matters when you're playing in your non-conference schedule. Build RPI and get your team ready for conference play. And we have some significant challenges coming in conference play when we get there, and we've got to put ourselves to the test here in these first 4 weeks to be ready for that. But we have, we keep talking about that stretch. I mean, obviously we open at number 9 Kentucky in a week, and then the second week we're at Michigan State, and then we go through that gauntlet stretch where we have Tennessee, who's in the top 25, then Dayton, who's in the top 25, Marquette, who's in the Cali. Those kids are going to have to lead the way. But we're really excited about all of our newcomers. We're really excited. Madison Chitty, who's a grad transfer from Rutgers, was a libero at Rutgers for 4 years, has come in and really given us the ball control side of Paige Briggs, like the ability to pass and defend, which is a big part of what you lose. And she's done a great job, and is just a kid that in a short amount of time I think our fan base will absolutely love. She's a great young woman. And then our freshman class, you talked about those 2 freshman outside hitters, Olivia Skidmore and Faith Young. We recruited them both knowing we needed one of them to be able to step in and impact us right away. And the reality is, I think they're both ready to do that. But they're going to be freshmen. They're going to be, one day it'll be one of them, the next day it'll probably be the next one, and that's okay. If you remember last year, that's who we were in the middle. And if you remember, Izzy Vanderweely sat and watched the first 2/3 of the season, and then the last third of the season was the best middle hitter we had. And these 2 are really talented outsides. And then Camilla Adams is another ball control player that we brought in that's been a really pleasant surprise. We knew she could play, but she's adapted to the game very quickly. And it's an interesting year. We have a really small roster, like an uncomfortably small roster. We only have 12 players on our team. We like to carry 14, 15, something like that, even more, but we only have 12, but we have depth through versatility. And we literally believe that all 12 of them will impact us on the court this season in different roles and different days. And so it's going to be fun trying to put all that together.
I think last year you guys were 3rd in the nation in hitting percentage, if I remember correctly, and one of only 6 in the nation to hit above 300. That's been a staple of Hilltop Revival for a while, that impressive hitting percentage. What is your expectations as far as offensively, that efficiency rate? Are we going to see more of that?
Yeah,
or how's that feel?
that's a great question. And might I add, that was in the post-Lauren Matthews era, when everybody questioned whether or not, we lost the best offensive player in the country. What was it going to look like? And we were one of only 3 teams to hit above 300 last year, I think, as a team. And, this year's team, I think, will be a really efficient offensive team, too. I think one of the biggest things that you guys will notice quickly is how improved our 2 young middle hitters are. Gabby Y and Izzy Vanderweely both are totally different players than they were a year ago. So what's tough about our sport, these kids come in as freshmen and they practice for 2 weeks, and now we got to go play matches, and that's unfair. And those kids got better throughout the year, but then in the spring you get a full spring to really develop them, and those 2 are totally different players now. And what was a problem for us, both of our middles hit low 200s last year on a team that hit over 300. Well, this year I think you'll see our middles return to the standard a little bit more offensively. And I think that the effectiveness last year, Kaylee and Paige, like you kind of knew the ball was going there and nobody could seem to find an answer. This year, it's going to be in the way that I prefer. If you want me to be honest, we're going to be so complete offensively. There's no person in our lineup that won't be able to carry a load. Last year, our middles weren't ready, so their numbers were much lower. This year, it's going to be, how do you want to defend us? What do you want to try to take? And we'll probably be able to come at you from somewhere else. And we're going to have great balance, and we're going to have 5 offensive players out there that can hurt you, and they're going to be getting the ball from an All-American setter. And so I like the balance, and I think that's what will create the efficiency this year.
I think you kind of talked about that excitement and the balance on this team. Like, really, no one really has to carry the load more than others. It's kind of pretty much an even playing field. Just going off that excitement, I know for you, just being a coach, in the past years, you always knew, like, oh, Paige can do this, you can tell her to whatever, but she's going to be able to do it. But how exciting is it to really be able to coach this team and put players in certain positions and really be able to see how they've grown and their experiences throughout the year?
It's been a really enjoyable preseason for me because of that. Because, again, our roster size is a little bit scary. The storyline, like if we have a rash of injuries, we will be very different looking and not such a good way. We can withstand an injury. We probably can't withstand a few injuries, if that makes sense, with our roster. But at the same time, we have 12 players that all have a role that are going to impact us this year. And it's what still brings me in here. You ask about me being in my 30th year earlier, and I hope this doesn't sound bad, but I didn't decide to do this all over again this year because I want another ring. Okay, I've already won more than I could have ever won in my wildest dreams. I came back because we have players like Gabby Y and Izzy Van de Wheelie that had it, that just hadn't found it yet. And that ability to get in the gym and just find a way to squeeze it out of them. You heard Kaylee talking about she can't believe how much those 2 freshman outsides have improved just in 2 weeks. And I'll be honest, that's what gets me out of bed. I could stay here and not even show up on game day, and it would not impact me in the least. I don't coach for game day. I coach to watch these kids develop, to help light bulbs come on, in their volleyball minds, and to watch them grow into complete young women that are grateful and respectful and understand what being at Western Kentucky is about.
I want to get your reaction to the ABCA preseason poll, part 2, just kind of hit on CUSA, how the conference is looking this year.
The ABCA poll came out today. I think we were 26th if you add it up that way, or the 26th team getting, whatever you want to say, just right outside that top 25. That's about where I thought we would be. Someone asked me, I said I thought we'd be somewhere between 23 and 27, 28, somewhere in there. So I think that's fair. Preseason polls are a shot in the dark a little bit. But we're honored to be respected. What that means if you show up in a preseason poll after you lose a third-team All-American in Paige Briggs is that your program is respected. And I think it shows that our program is respected. I think we're going to be very, very good. Again, we don't have to go 12-2 out of the gate for me to believe that. I know what we have. We're going to be good. And so I think we belong where we are. And hopefully we can go out and grind through this. And, my biggest challenge, I think, in the next 4 weeks is to keep our kids in a good mental place. Because I know when we drop 3 or 4 games in a shorter amount of time, people around here are going to think the sky's falling. And if I can keep them in the right place, we'll be way better for it, when we come out the other side. And so I know we belong where we are. In terms of the conference, my goodness, there's been a lot of media the last few years talking about the changes in Conference USA and the teams that have left Conference USA. Dig in when it comes to volleyball, because the league has continued to get better, and the teams that they've added in volleyball are fantastic. The Liberties and the Kennesaw State is a really good volleyball program. Delaware, who's coming soon, is a really good volleyball program. New Mexico State is a really good volleyball program. Like, it has done nothing but elevate Conference USA volleyball. And, this year is going to be tough. Everybody can play. There's a lot of really, really good teams that continue to get better. I think the level of coaching in this league is what's so significant right now. There's a lot of coaches in this league that are, some of them are new to the league, but I've known for a long time in this business, and you're going to see their programs get better quickly. You know, the Deck Schraders at Jacksonville State, and you know, Keith Shanzo at Kennesaw State is a terrific coach, and like I know what's going to continue to happen in this league. And as far as the landscape this year, again, on paper, I think we're one of the best teams again, but we are certainly not on a pedestal. New Mexico State, who we played in the conference championship last year, is a team that returns everything. They return their entire roster, plus added another all-conference kid that came from a different institution in our league. And so when you fill out the preseason all-conference ballot, you could fill it out with New Mexico State's lineup. And they're going to be a significant, significant challenge, and I think can play with anybody nationally. And then UTEP is a program that has been on the rise for some time, and you know, I think they finished around 60, something like that in the RPI last year, made another deep run in the NIVC tournament, and you know, this year the tournament is at UTEP, and their fan base has been crazy about UTEP volleyball, and so they're going to have thousands of people in there for the Conference USA tournament, and we understand what kind of challenge that's going to be to go down there in the regular season and have to go back for the tournament. And you know, I mean, we were playing a back and forth affair out here last year until they suffered an injury in that first match, if you remember. And you know, those New Mexico State, UTEP, off the top of my head, are two teams that literally can compete with anyone nationally, and I think you'll see that as time goes on here. And then, but the depth goes so much further than that. You know, Middle Tennessee, and Liberty, and Kennesaw, and FIU. All these teams are quality volleyball teams, and so you know, preparing in this non-conference for what's ahead, I think, is a smart play.
Anything else for Travis? Coach, thank you.
Thank you, guys.